Hi there, it's John Howard with my fourth in a series on what I learned as a Colorado Parks and Wildlife Commissioner. Today's topic is how to think about predators, and I'll be spending my time on how to think, not telling you what to think. Uh, well into the 20th century, federal and state policies encouraged the eradication of predators via direct action, bounties, and other methods. Wolves, grizzlies, and even scavenger species like wolverines were shot, trapped, and poisoned. But by the 1960s, as Colorado began to realize that they'd lost the grizzly and the mountain lion and bears were in decline, and the last wolverine was poached, management changed and it became science-based, not fear-based. Today we have a stable to slow growth population of bear and lions, as well as huge numbers of coyotes, foxes, and other smaller predators and scavengers like bobcats. That recovery wasn't an accident. Careful public policy designed to reverse public fear and intolerance of predators, including large-scale payments to agriculture for game loss funded almost exclusively from hunting license sales, made all of that recovery possible. Nevertheless, the unabashed conservation success story is too often ignored in the various controversies around seasons for predator hunting, methods of take, and then also reintroduction. Today's piece is designed to give anyone interested in predators, from animal rights activists to sports persons, voters and volunteers, everyone in Colorado, a way to think about predators on Colorado's landscape. It applies standard business principles from small business to multinational businesses facing and resolving tough, emotionally charged issues that have real world consequences. How to think about hard issues, not what to think. Let's talk about mountain lions to illustrate. First, let's break a complex problem down into parts. It's always easier to solve that way. Step one, read all the objective science about mountain lions in the Rocky Mountain states. Learn about the ecology or their relationships with all the parts of their environment. How are males different from female? How are young raised? What are the relationships to prey? How does that change over seasons? What are lions' relationships to agriculture, to the suburbs, to pets? To what extent are lions a threat to humans as hikers, bikers, or otherwise on the landscape? Now, when you're reading all this objective science, just trying to understand the lion, you'll inevitably run into advocacy science. Science that doesn't explain the animal, but rather advocates for a management technique or an outcome. Bookmark that and save it for step two. In step one, some people may spend days or weeks reading books and articles. Others might just have time for a general single piece. Either way, try to understand and focus on the animal on its own terms, not as a tool for an argument. Now you're grounded and ready for step two, evaluating advocacy science. Listen to all sides. Wildlife issues and advocates are much more complex than Democratic or Republican politics. Most issues will have 3 or 4 different approaches on the science in the future. It's all valuable in thinking about the future. Just be realistic about biases and sources and anchor everything back into that objective science that you read. Just because you're a layperson, if advocacy science seems crazy given what you learned in step one, hey, maybe it is, probably is. Step three, now you're ready to take on social issues. How people feel or believe about wildlife. Things like interfering with nature, or they were there first. Things like genetics on sheep and cattle that go back to a great-grandfather's homestead days. Those are tough and often angry issues. Don't let anybody try and oversimplify them. In my view, they're 50% of the issue. No matter what the science, you have to have some public support for the outcome. Filter then away things that don't seem right. I do that by a pretty simple rule. Passion is credible. Anger is incredible. Passion is credible. Anger is incredible. A person leveling personal attacks, calling colleagues and former colleagues names, questioning opponents' motives, a person red in the face. These are people that, in my experience, are motivated by reasons other than wildlife. Maybe they're a frustrated politician trying for a legacy, or had a bad experience with the species that, no matter how bad, shouldn't lead to a statewide management decision. That kind of personal focus, not on the animal, but on their own personal views and outcome, it's incivil. It just doesn't work in Colorado, in my experience. The two most credible people I witnessed on predator social issues were a small farmer from the San Luis Valley talking about his ancient genetics, and a grandmother from Wheat Ridge holding a stuffed wolf talking about her granddaughter's future. Passion without anger. That's how you build a coalition to save animals and plants. So step 4, weigh it all. Objective science, advocacy science, and social issues. I can't tell you what to think, that's up to you. But this formula gets you down to the basic science and social challenges predators cause. And when you're in the ballot box, you'll be making an informed decision without the noise of the haters on either side. Thanks, and I'll look forward to talking to you next week on why state government is so inefficient. The surprisingly easy answer.